This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in up northern Colorado. We are here at the gateway of Colorado in Wellington. We're at the Old Colorado Brewing Company. Since 1989, this family tradition, generations were born to brew, have been brewing up some great taste and also tapping into some great history. Let me ask you guys a little bit about yourselves first of all. When is it when you two got involved and decided to push the vision forward?
Well, when I met Brandon, his lifelong dream was to reopen his family's brewery. So his dream became my dream. It's been his lifelong. So just
lifelong dream, something to open up a place. I mean, that's pretty much the American dream as it is, but open up a brewery, even cooler. How far back do you remember, Brandon, where love of brew and the love of business would come together?
You know, working with my dad and my grandpa at the brewery in early 89, 90, I really like hanging out with them and actually working with them, cleaning vessels, brewing, trying to get in there and help them out with whatever I could. And I loved it from day one, honestly. It was such a good time.
That is very cool. I mean, quite honestly, here in Colorado, we are known for our microbreweries. We're known for beer. Yet if we backtrack about a quarter of a century to the late 1980s, that wasn't the case. I mean, that's not the world I grew up in. That's not Colorado that I grew up in. Yet there was a handful of guys that were pushing forward, basically pioneers in this industry. Your family was one of them. Was that an exciting time, basically, when they were doing something nobody else was really venturing to do?
It's really nice to know that my grandpa kind of paved the way for a lot of modern day breweries. And, you know, starting it out back in 89, he really had a good niche of what he wanted, what he loved. Just kept going with it, made a good dream out of it.
That is fantastic. I mean, there's many aspects when it comes to the process of brewing, everything from milling the grain, making sure everything in the back room is correct, all the way to the final testing. Really, you can go back to the early 1900s. Your family's been involved in probably some aspect of it when you think about it.
My grandpa actually started in 89, but my great-great-grandpa actually had the biggest brewery in Michigan, the Michigan State Brewing Company, and he sold it to Global Brewing, which is still open today. So even in the early 1900s, we were still going for it and trying to pave some way. We have some great brewers here. They kind of bring along the tradition that my grandpa actually brought in. We do brew them like he used to brew them, which is really nice, and it brings it in the 21st century, but still brings it back to the square roots of like where it started.
Brandon, this is in your blood. Tradition of a trade. And you're serious about brewing. It's an art that is perfected over time. I mean, it's really something you guys have been doing for many years. Speaking of time, this building is just eking of time. Tell me why this is such a historical place to come in and have a taste.
Well, once we saw the place, we knew this was the face of Old Colorado Brewing Company, Phase 2, the second brewery. That once we started it up, we needed a place that encompassed the history and the vision that we had, and this was the perfect spot.
Living it up while you're going down. 5 stories of grain elevator. I mean, man, it doesn't get too much better than this. This has to be a great place for people to come in, try some brew. When you guys first opened the doors, how did the public react?
We've had excellent feedback. We have a lot of regular people that come back every week. I think they were excited to see that we restored an old historic building, something that's been an icon in Wellington. They just love coming in and feeling at home here. It's very homey and comfortable, and also a lot of history.
Homey, comfortable, yet when you walk in here, you realize this is a little bit different than what people are used to. Not only looks different, feels different, it's built different. And we're talking about walls that were built to last. Tell me about that.
Well, they're 2x6s stacked on top of each other all the way up 5 stories, which is quite unique. Makes it very sturdy, beautiful. Once you see the inside, you can't really explain it. You have to see it to believe it.
That is right. It's the first thing I did as I walked in, had to start looking up. How many stories are we going up there?
We got 5 stories going all the way to the top. We have 2 sections in the brewery that put plexiglass in, so you can kind of feel the depth of the building. You know, it's just not one single floor. It's actually 5 stories, and you can see all the way up there.
You guys basically are packing some old-time values in every single bottle that you push out here. We're talking about hard work, passion, obviously a little bit of fun. Puts all this in place, I would imagine. Let me ask you, is there a signature brew that started you guys out, or is there one that you're really well known for?
Well, we just released our Where Is Your Aspen? Originally Aspen Ale from 1989 was the first brew that was brewed and released to the public in Fort Collins back in 1989. So we just released that in September. That's pretty much our signature that we have on tap right now, but we've got more to come.
Excellent. Speaking of more to come, tell me what the folks are going to find there on the back bar. Are you basically hosting some other beer places as well, or is this strictly all your own?
We strictly brew in-house. It is all our beer. It's all brewed on premises. We have capacity for 11 different taps, so we're going to have a bunch of different beers coming out. 6 staple beers, and they're going to be my grandpa's old recipes, but we still have more even to bring out as far as seasonals, brewer's choice and things like that. We'll have 5 extra taps that we can kind of do some fun things with.
Tell me a little bit about your staff and the guys in the back room. I can see what goes on in the front. People are having a great time, but obviously the magic happens behind the walls where the taste is found. We've got a brewmaster that has some experience there. Everything's pretty much being done in the spirit of a German brewmaster. Tell me about the staff that makes it possible.
Well, technically right now I have 2 brewers. They're very good to us. They've been brewing for a long time. They've been doing some good things with our old beers, and then as well as bringing out some great new beers. They're just small town guys, they came and hung out with us. We tasted some beer and they really kicked it off with us. We had a good time ever since.
That is fantastic. But yet here in Colorado, we've almost become more sophisticated in our tasting. Are you able to taste the different variances?
Absolutely. I can taste a good beer and I can taste a great beer. I tend to like the dark beers, but I know that everybody has different taste buds. Everyone has a unique flavor, so it's exciting to go out and try all the different beers that are out there right now, including the ones that we have.
Excellent. Let me ask you, basically hasn't walked in here. They want to try out something for the first time. What would you recommend to them?
I kind of talk to them, see what they like, see what they don't like, and then I can kind of assess what they want. Okay, we need a dark beer or a nice something maltier or, something a little lighter with a little sweeter tones to it. And a lot of people around Colorado definitely know what they're looking for because we are such a beer society. They can come in here and I can kind of pinpoint something for them that they'd really like.
That is nice. Speaking of the folks that are coming through the doors here, obviously great taste. This is what flocks them all together, but this is really about community. This is a place where you bring people together, stories are told, people hang out. It might be a laid-back game night, or it might be a lively party where you got live music, maybe a food truck out front. Was that all part of the vision?
Oh, of course, especially in Wellington because there's not a lot of stuff to do up here, and we want to keep people and the community together all at one time, Bring new people in and come with the older guys that have been here for 30, 40 years. They all come together and they hang out and have some fun, listen to some good music, drink some beers, just have a good little time together and kind of mesh the old with the new.
Kind of cool for you to actually watch Wellington grow up with your business. I mean, Wellington was probably nothing 20, 30 years ago, and it's actually coming up to pace here, has a place here that has some great entertainment, some great food, and you're basically putting them on the map out there when it comes to beer. How's that make you feel?
It's incredible, bringing back those old recipes to even a new clientele. We have some older guys that come in and say, hey, I like that porter you brewed or this, that, or the other. Bringing that in and giving it back to the community is just incredible.
Fantastic. Family tradition. Are you guys starting a family here?
Yep, we have a 4-year-old daughter and a 5.5-month-old daughter, so...
Here they come. The vision is alive and well. What do you think your grandfather would think if he walked through the doors today, took a look around and said, I'll be damned, you did something?
He's extremely proud. He's been a big fan of us ever since we started. Send him up stuff every now and again, and he just loves that we brought something back from the past. This building really encompasses old Colorado, and that's what he loves.
Old Colorado, we're throwing you back to the past. Great historical building. Come in and check it out. Forward flavor here when it comes to beer because we're putting out some of the best beer right here in Colorado. We're talking about a family tradition that began way back in the 1980s. A few handful of pioneers that brought it here to Colorado. I, for myself, this is the furthest north up we've come to check out a story, but I had to see this grain elevator for myself. Something quite unique to experience, but I definitely have to try some of this beer before I leave. Once again, this is Gary Atensi with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.